Welcome to Lime Rock. I'm Nick, founder and coach at Corner Faster. We host test days for current racers and an SCCA accredited school for the next ones. This video is part of a 10-part series where we take a look at Lime Rock Park in the iRacing simulator and go from a virtual track walk up to race ready. This video is part 4 in the series, and it's all about braking, getting on the brakes, off the brakes, and when not to use the brakes at all. Okay, we're going to take another look at Google Maps. Just to get oriented, this is the front straightaway into turn 1. It's the biggest brake zone on the track. After Big Bend, we've got the left-hander, and most cars need to brake at least a little bit to bleed off some speed and get the car turned in for the left-hander. And then most cars don't need to brake. Some are pretty much flat out through the right-hander. Into the uphill, most cars don't need to brake. It's usually just a lift. Some higher power cars will need to brake, but in our Miata it's easy with just a lift. In the West Bend corner, this is almost always a short brake zone to a medium brake zone for some of the faster cars. And then into the downhill, many cars, this is not a brake zone. Some might need to bleed a little bit of speed, and some are nearly or fully flat out all the way through the corner. So we head out on track in the iRacing simulator. We've got the throttle and brake trace. We'll be focusing on the throttle in green and the brake in red. And what we're looking for, essentially two principles: getting on the brakes, especially the initial application. We want a gradual slope to show up in the data. And we get that by gently squeezing the very top of the pedal before eventually, finally, squeezing to the full depth of whatever the brake zone needs. And as far as getting off the brakes, if you were riding along as a passenger, ideally you wouldn't be able to tell when the braking ends and the coasting or maintenance period begins. So we're going to apply that into turn 1 here, and we're also going to start braking a little early, right here at the 3. Try to be as smooth as possible. And then gently squeezing the brake just a tiniest bit in a left-hander. No brakes for the right-hander in this car. And in the uphill, we're going to lift as well, no brakes. But we're going to apply the same principle, try to be as smooth as possible, getting out of full throttle and back to it. Now we're going to go a little bit deeper, past the 3, closer to the 2, into turn 1 here. But same technique, gently squeezing on and off. And in a left-hander, same thing. Again, try to take off any sharp edges that we can off of getting off of full throttle and back to full throttle. And now as we head into turn 1, we're going to push it even further, all the way to the 2 marker. Still, again, trying to not rush in any way, getting on the brake pedal. In that case, we had to hold down the pressure a little bit further, or I should say a little bit longer, but still took the same amount of time going from 0 to essentially full brake pressure. And again, with the uphill here, just trying to be as smooth as possible, easing out and squeezing back into full throttle. Now we're going to go even deeper. And the point here is to keep pushing until can't quite make the line that we're looking for. Not until we fly off the track, but, you know, just can't quite hit the mark. It's just a hair deep, so we can go even a... We'll try to work with that brake point, actually, for the next lap or two. But again, just trying to take all of the edges off of the inputs. Alright, so at this point, I think we've roughly found what's probably the limit just after the number 2 brake pour, but we're going to go even further just before the 1. Yeah, and that's a bit too deep. We've got to slow down and bring it back over. Alright, so now what we're going to try to do is see if, well, let's see if we can squeeze on the brake pedal faster and see if that helps or not. Sometimes we can end up being a little lazy on the brake pedal if you're a little nervous into an area, or if you're just trying to be a little too smooth, if you will. So let's see what happens if we really abrupt on the brake pedal at the last possible point when you're working with that brake point right around the number 2, just past it. I don't think that helped get us slowed down, and it definitely heated the tires up quite a bit all the way through the next couple corners. Might be a little exaggerated in iRacing, but even still, the effect is real. Yeah, snapping off doesn't really help much. Alright, let's try to smooth it out one more time after going the abrupt method for the last lap. Went a little deep there, but now as we get deeper into the session, the tires heat up, and the challenge is to just keep dialing it in more and more and more. Can you be even smoother than the last lap, sort of thing? And we're going to do one more time, focusing on the timing of that brake into turn 1 here, just past the 2 board. And it definitely helps to gently squeeze that pedal as opposed to being really abrupt with it. The brake distance is absolutely shorter, and it sets the car up with a lot more grip mid-corner. As we wrap up here, just try to stay smooth on and off the throttle. A little too early there. And this wraps up the content for this particular video. Braking here at Lime Rock Park. I'm gonna ease off and just walk it back into the pits. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned a little bit about how to get on and off the brake pedal here, watching a demonstration in and out of each corner, and how the brake zones, or if you're not braking at all, how to still be smooth, leading off a little bit of speed into each corner. Stick around for the next video where we take a look at the other pedal, how to get on the gas. Check out cornerfaster.com. See you at Lime Rock.